quickly, we've more or less said on this table that his legacy is mixed. But what do you think?
Well, I think it could be said that every person's legacy is mixed, but it depends then on the mixed, what constitutes that mixture. First, there's no doubt that maybe for more than 2 decades, he has raptured our, our mind, our emotion, this Baba Gaskia. So he had a legacy. His believers, his supporters, think he was perhaps the most Puritan of Nigerian leaders in terms of self-possession, self-dignity, discipline. And Nigeria is common to hear stories of expensive lifestyle, of grease, sleaze, and graft around Nigerian important political persons. But up until now, there are no such stories around. He lived simple. He lived provincial. I mean, provincial may be seen as a negative word, but in this sense, lived close to province. The values of a provincial person who is happy with his environment, left power, didn't set up any NGO before he came the second time, didn't speak on any big conference, spoke to Hausa, BBC, and VOA. So a typical provincial person of dignity and honor. But the problem is when you leave the provincial and get to the widening landscape of multi-ethnic, multi-religious nation with complexes and social nuances, provincialism becomes a problem. And so the second coming as a president stretched him, and the verdict would be something close to he didn't quite get it done. So I think mixed legacy, that we can always say somehow this was a man who, as upright as he was in physique, he was so in his discipline, his courage, unrelenting in the beliefs he had, even those beliefs that many of us could see as partisan, ethnic, ethnocentric. But he probably said what he meant more than most politicians. And oftentimes he's described as a man of integrity, but if you define integrity in a more normative sense of integration, then his second coming quite exposed that he probably wasn't that man of integrity as such, but probably a man of discipline and Puritan values. So I think, and of course, the man who convulsed northern Nigeria. Sorry, go ahead.
Just to buttress, some of the points that you're making, if you speak to various people at the moment, you get very different views and reactions to this loss. My question to you is, as we've already dissected, the pros and the cons of his leadership style and his various tenures, do you think history will be kind to him?
I think maybe I want to start with Winston Churchill, who said history will be kind to me because I intend to write it. Unfortunately, the president didn't write the history. I think not so much. It's going to unravel in history for 2 reasons. One, I think that we are in age of social media and narratives, and while he was alive, the narrative was very bad. And he didn't have opportunity like Jonathan, probably, who had to do some, narrative himself by getting the things he did. And Jonathan left office perhaps demonized by a section of the country, perhaps liked by a section. But since he left office, he had the good fortune of being involved in things that has repositioned himself. And then there was a Buhari who cast a more good glance, light, the spotlight changed because in contrast, people saw the difference. I think Buhari doesn't have that, or didn't have that advantage, that he has to do some things that contextualize some of the things people didn't know about him. But his lieutenants, we saw Gaga Bashir who come out, even without a death, and they're going to see some more people come out to say, this is the other side of this great man. But I think overall, that he started losing his stature. If he didn't win the election, he would have being a legend. Today we talk about Awolowo as the best president Nigeria ever had, because up until his death, that dignity and that great intellectual acuity was there. But now Buhari has unraveled. So my sense would be that he will diminish as we go down history, but remain this humorous, comical, nice, straight-talking, loved by that a small section of his friends and loyalists who saw perhaps that discipline that he had. But for the rest of us, his public record will be the reference point, and my prediction is that it might start to lose. But you never know. They say great presidents come decades after they have left. Who knows? But from the way I see it, I'm not seeing that magic happening.